That's right. We're just like the Chipmunks. It's been a while, but we're back in style. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk, the first of 4 episodes discussing Wonder Man. As always, I am Christian Bladt. With us for our installment covering Wonder Man episodes 1 and 2, and only episodes 1 and 2, is recent birthday boy, Mr. David Brody, aka Wonder Bread. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm soft and squeezable like any good Wonder Bread, and I am now a what they call it, a trip around the sun older.
And just like Wonder Bread, you are bleached, but let's not talk about where.
Ki-
It was
Right
just your
here,
birthday.
right
Mine's
here.
mine's coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be
Nice.
having a landmark birthday, so I'm in no rush. So
30 again.
sure, let's go with that. As always, we are here with Mr. Wonderful himself, uh, Shakespearean trained actor, Mr. Wonderful, Count Trevor Conner. How are you, sir?
Good to see you, love.
It is wonderful. Our audio audience is really being deprived. Now, they'll be able to see a thumbnail. So if they look really closely, they're going to see you. And as always, if we're doing this show, we are happy to be joined by the great Daniel Drew, who gives an LMAO, laughing my arse off, as our buddy Husey would say. And then there's the StreamYard Duck. It's not who I meant to share. Daniel says he loves the show. Still wish it was a weekly release. Grumble. Yes.
Who wouldn't love a weekly release?
Weekly release would be very nice.
Yeah,
That's my British accent, by the way. It still needs work.
it sounded Yiddish, almost like Yiddish British.
Yeah, I don't know about
British
you
would
guys.
be-
I'm looking for a weekly release, but nobody's
Yeah.
told my wife.
Hey!
That's right. That's what I meant. Yeah.
So in any case, we are going to cover this show 2 episodes at a time. And I know some of you, including our buddy Daniel, have already watched all 8. Restrain yourself from talking about what happens in the later episodes. As we move through this, I'm instructing and begging and pleading all the contributors to our show to only watch the 2 episodes at a time. And we are, of course, joined by Marvel Movie Talk royalty, the great Kame Egan from the greater Chicagoland area. So we are glad to have her. We're glad to have Daniel. And honestly, that's plenty of show. Sometimes there's 5 or 6 of us on there. You got the 3 of us here on screen, the 2 of you in the chat. I don't think we need much else. Oh, wait. That's right. We got a Daredevil trailer this week. So before we even dive in to the
That's why I wore the shirt.
Wait, should I get the mask?
No, please don't.
Yes.
It'll be bad enough when it gets closer. So we indeed got a trailer, and we see plenty of Karen Page. So it's off to a great start. Lots of whipped cream, and of course, Bullseye is there. And everybody's having fun.
Is it Danny DeVito, by the way?
It might have been. It might be somebody's sister that looks like Danny DeVito. But in any
Oh.
case, we have, the joy in Fisk's New York City. There's a lot of laughing and a lot of people having some fun. And Matt Murdock's missing. And then, of course, which we all knew was coming, we get the great Kristen Ritter's Jessica Jones walking in. And honestly, that's probably all they needed. And I was so excited to see her, but then, of course, immediately bummed out to have little Gandolfini here on the screen. Couldn't they have killed him in the offseason? I obviously don't mean the actor. I mean the character. The actor is free to walk the earth like Kane from Kung Fu, but he does not need to be on my screen.
Well, speaking of Kung Fu, who would you rather have on the show? Gandolfini or Iron Fist?
I mean, you're asking the wrong person because I would much rather have Iron Fist. And
All right.
if you're talking about Finn Jones as Danny Rand, I got no problem. But if you're talking about Colleen Wing as the Iron Fist, I think most people would agree.
100%.
Eric, what are some of the things that stand out to you from this?
Well, I'm now thinking of Michael Moore's quote, "The evil of two lessers," comparing Iron Fist and Gandolfini. It, so here for this coming back into my diet. I absolutely love that we get Jessica Jones, who I often call January Jones by mistake, but I don't. I think I got it right this time. I think uh, I mean, I would rather look at Cami Egan than myself as well. I mean, this it gives us kind of a greatest hits, right? I'm not sure. It was that someone wearing a Kingpin mask, maybe a 3D printed mask. I'm not sure, but
yeah, perhaps someone who used to work for a radio show created a Wilson Fisk puppet that they used to act out some of his personality.
I often have one nearby for the very same reason.
Yeah. Well, also you're a fan of puppetry.
I have my Anderson Cooper puppet.
Oh no. So yeah, and that is one of the
that
things.
image there, right? Right. It's like is it a puppet or a mask?
It's well, it looks it looks like someone in a mask. I thought it was a puppet, but it also looks like Jeff Dunham's character Walter.
Also looks a little like Frankenberry. It could be me.
Yeah. Oh, you're just hungry.
Always.
You only had so many spare ribs.
Now, do we know beyond Jessica Jones, like, is Luke Cage supposed to come in this as well?
There are rumors swirling around. There is hope swirling around that we would get to see him, but no confirmation as of yet. And Daniel Drew thinks it's a mask, like those Nixon masks. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's pretty much what it looks like.
Point Break.
And by the way, he did appreciate that I pointed out that he looked like Jeff Dunham's Walter. So obviously the great Daniel Drew and I are on the same wavelength. So we're obviously both very smart. So yeah, getting to see Jessica Jones is of course very exciting. And I think that's plenty of excitement for all of us, you know. But whoa, there we are. Hi guys. So tell me more that we see. Yeah, there we go. He's got the black suit on, which is interesting. You know, he's better to hide in the shadows, I think. And we have the official release date of March 24th, which earlier reports were a much earlier date, but people thought it would premiere on March 6th only because it was on March 6th last year. So what I was hoping for was a weekly Wonder Man release and then Daredevil March 6th so that we can really get some momentum going. But nah, we'll get momentum going once it finally starts. Anything for you, Mr. Brody, that jumps out?
The tone. The tone looks dark. He looks demented at times, like he's enjoying the violence. And I feel like, and by the way, there was a brief clip of Foggy. I don't know if that was a flashback, if that was right. There was a Foggy.
I mean, I would think it has to be a flashback because he's
I'm still stunned at what they did there. It's like even a year later, I've had some time to mourn. It's still all the Shiva in the world hasn't made me understand more why they thought they needed to do that.
Well, be that as it may. And remember, in the earliest version of the show, they killed both Foggy and Karen. So, but we have it on good authority that Foggy Nelson, much like Generalissimo Francisco Franco, is still dead. So, unfortunately, we will have to enjoy him in flashback form. And yes, he does make a good point, Daniel Drew, that the boxing scene seems interesting. We'll have plenty more to take a look at when it comes to that. There's another Marvel Studios video. Don't worry, we are going to start talking Wonder Man momentarily. Have you guys been able to check out Dr. Doom Says Come Visit Latveria? Because It is actually kind of fun. It's that like Robot Chicken style, but this is on Marvel Studios YouTube channel, and it's basically, like the board of tourism of Latveria trying to tell you all the great reasons why you can come there, including the safety of the Doom bots. And so I think it's never too early for us to start thinking about Doom and Doctor Doom as well. Um, and have you guys seen this before?
No, I'm gonna watch it when we're done.
Yeah. Okay.
With
Well,
the
yeah. And
sound
again, I would play it with the audio, but as there's some very specific rules. We tried to watch the Daredevil trailer in Geekscape News, which is a daily feature. You can get news from Geekscape every weekday, but because that's pre-recorded and uploaded as a video, the content was blocked, so we had to cover up the trailer. But we're live. We'll do it live, so we get to watch it. So I don't know.
I saw this pop up in a feed somewhere, and I thought it was like AI or just some old like shticky cartoon, so I actually didn't click on it. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it is Robot
actually.
Chicken, says Cam Egan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but it is on the Marvel Entertainment. So this is now canon.
Is
Am I
Robot
to
Chicken
believe?
canon? Yeah, I mean, I think
In my mind, in my heart,
I
it
think
is.
I think we all want to believe, But yeah, see, I'm I clicked out just so you can see this is on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. So everybody should check it out. I mean, it's fun. We're not gonna go through even on mute all 5 parts of it, but you're starting to get a feel for some of the characters that we're going to see. So
Well, they had this Submariner right there. We just
we did have the Submariner, exactly. And so we get Mephisto. I'm not sure if we actually saw him yet, but he shows up. Yeah, there he is.
There he is. Hey, he is.
Yeah. So in any case, again, our audio audience, check all this stuff out. And, we're less than 11 months away from Doomsday, which, you think that it's far off, but it'll be here before you know it. You know what I'm saying, guys?
When are we going to do our sniping of the Doomsday Clock?
What do you mean when? I mean, we're kind of perpetually doing it. Don't you realize? I mean, we're always sniping the Doomsday Clock. So it's 10 months, 16 days. And at this moment, 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 20 seconds. So, yeah. But we probably do a 5-hour stream where we just watch the clock. Is it something you want to sign up for, Eric?
Listen, just give me enough brandy in my coffee. I'm there.
Yeah. Doomsday, thank you. And they are counting down. And oh my gosh, Daniel Drew forgot to watch the Doom video. It is Doomtastic, but I'm surprised of all people. And it's basically a toy ad to add to his Marvel Legends collection.
Now, if Robot Chicken could do a version of Melania, then I might watch it.
Well, Eric knows that I was very close to going to see Melania. No, I didn't. I was going to go see Melania with a friend because
you wanted to lose that friend.
No. We knew what we were doing. But anyway, that is that is neither here nor there. And I'm sorry, our buddy Ivan Soto made me laugh. Dune sucks. Just Doomsday. And she's just calling it Doomsday. Everybody's having fun. So in any case, I do want to talk about Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, and we're going to talk about episodes 1 and 2. As I mentioned, very excited to talk about those, and it is a very unique show. I was describing it as really, at least in these first 2 episodes, it's the least Marvel show we've gotten, because even WandaVision, even when it was the sitcom episodes, it was still very Marvel-y because we had Vision and Scarlet Witch in those sitcoms. But this is just a movie about a guy who's an actor who meets another guy who's an actor, and there's little stuff in it. But I would ask you first, Brody. What are your thoughts on these first 2 episodes of Wonder Man?
Well, it's definitely not Marvel, and I think that may be the explanation for why they dropped them all at once. I think when you're worried about your first episode or two not grabbing an audience,
yeah,
I think that's why they dropped them. Also, it's the #1 trending show on Disney right now, and it's one of the most viewed shows on streaming. And I think that's because you've now multiplied the 1 episode times 8 times the viewing, roughly. Yeah. Some people may have dropped off in the middle, but now you've got attention drawn to it. Now you're like, oh, what's the #1 show? I got to watch it. Whereas if 1 episode came out and it didn't click, they might have just plummeted in terms of ratings. So I feel like this is the kind of show that if you sat down to watch 8 in a row, you'd kind of get into it and the characters and the emotion. But if you watch 1 episode, you're like, where's the action? Where's his costume? So yeah. I think I understand now why they did that, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for where it may be going.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Again, it's also, I mean, each episode is really half an hour, so it is the most bingeable Marvel show we've ever gotten, in all honesty. Yeah. And it's a tight 4 hours for you to just kind of breeze through it if you want. But we stopped after 2. But what are some of your big overall thoughts, Eric?
So far, and you're saying, and I think you summed it up really nicely, the idea of the most unmarvel Marvel show. It's a surprisingly warm, like, I don't even want to call it a buddy comedy, because there's some comedy, but it's not really a comedic engine at work here. But it's a really nice character study. I think, and we'll get deeper into all this, but I think the 2 actors really, they play so well off each other. I mean, in some ways, it's like one of the best duos we've had in Marvel in quite some time. And I like that it kind of gives them space. Over the course of 2 episodes, minimal magic or superpowers, right?
Sure.
Hollywood satires, I feel like we get plenty of those. It's hard to find a new angle on that. But that being said, I think they've been smart about keeping the Hollywood stuff. It's very present, but it doesn't overpower the storytelling. And Brody, you got such a great point. I mean, again, that birthday really added much wisdom to you in the one day.
Very much, very much.
Yeah, I think like the idea that maybe they did realize if they just dropped the first episode and then we had to wait a week, yeah, I think there might have been a bit of a backlash. I think they knew what they had, and they realized what they had is actually a book that maybe you should do in just like 1 or 2 sittings, or in our case 4, because Christian said he would beat us if we went too far ahead in the watch. So Brody and I.
No, you would get the fire hose, is what I said. Yeah, much like Stanley Spadowski. Yeah,
right. But yeah, so far I've been really enjoying this, and I mean it doesn't necessarily feel even like the Wonder Man I know a little bit from the comics, but I'm okay with that because I love that actor. He was so great as Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen on HBO.
Terrific.
So I mean I'm just to hang with him, and of course Ben Kingsley. I'm sure, why not?
Sir Ben Kingsley, and I'm glad you mentioned him. So why don't you go ahead and try and say the actor's name, Eric? Go ahead, you brought it up.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Yeah, pretty good actually.
Is that
the second, but sure. Yeah.
I can't pronounce that word.
Yeah. That's the part that lost you.
Numbers are hard.
Yeah. And I do love the photo for our visual audience. He's in front of the Bruin Theater in Westwood, which I believe has since closed since they filmed this. Yeah. So that's fun, and that is one of the things that people are commenting on, that because he's a working actor, at least getting paid to maybe not act, as we see at the beginning. It is a very it has a lot of a local feel, but also anyone who's ever worked in a production certainly can get a chuckle out of, I don't want to eat at Mendocino Farms every day. And then also there's, someone on the crew saying, I just ate breakfast. How do I know what I'm going to want to eat for lunch in 4 hours? These are dilemmas we've all had working on television production or, really any kind of production. It's like, oh, they're going to give me my lunch, but I'm going to complain about it because it's the place I don't want it to be. And it's too early for me to decide. I don't know what's like a level up from first world problems, but, this is, so somewhere in the an upper caste, but something that I thought was very funny is the first scene we get. Simon's got way too many notes for a role that he has, which is very small. Eric, as someone who works in film school, was well, I don't know. Did it feel at all familiar or ring a little bit too true?
Well, familiar, yeah, because Tootsie had that joke 40 some odd years ago. But there is, of course, the truth to it. There are the actors who will go in and it's a Y on top of a Y on top of a Y. And I mean, I think what was really kind of amazing about that scene is how much space they gave it. It went on for several minutes and you could see
Yes.
where it was going. It was like, if you guys, I assume you guys have watched Swingers at some point or lived it. And you
A little bit of
basically-
both. A little bit of
little
both.
And that idea of like him when he keeps calling that one girl he just met at 2 a.m. and
Yes.
leaves one voice,
It's-
one answer machine
I
message. every
was
time.
going to actually mention that. It has that feeling because he's like
Right.
got the one more note, and John Favreau just keeps calling that girl back. Yes.
And I saw that in a theater in Manhattan, and everyone's yelling at the screen for him to shut up and hang up and walk away. And you have that feeling when you watch the scene on set where he's done his homework, and at first it's cute, and then it's still kind of like, all right, well, charming, and then by I don't know, within 20 minutes he's walking, like he's out of there, and they just let that scene breathe and play in a way that we really felt like we were on that set wanting him to get fired. And of course, Rogers the musical in this world does exist. It's a
Well,
real
yeah,
thing.
and Daniel made me realize I noticed the poster on the lot for Rogers the Musical. It's a poster for it being turned into a movie, of course, because this is a studio lot. So it's Rogers the Musical, the movie, which
I'm sure it'll be a two-parter like Wicked.
yes.
Well, it's like High School Musical, the musical, the series.
Right. It's like The Producers, which was a movie that got turned into a Broadway show, which then got turned into a movie. So yes, all of these things work. And I do agree, since we're talking about that scene with Simon, having all the notes, that the Ashley Greene from Twilight cameo was so fun. I didn't care about Joey Pants because I have no idea who he is.
Oh, Joey Pantoliano from The Sopranos.
He doesn't know Ralph Cifaretto is what Ivan's telling us. You prick.
It was just a fucking horse.
All right. That's all right. Sometimes
That's
it's
a great
appropriate.
deep track. And at some point you will bring up, I hope, the poster I sent you of one of his most important films.
Yeah. So the new way you send things to me, I've realized what the problem is. They're not organized the way you wanted them to be, because
music the way you want.
No. There was a value in sharing Gmail and scrolling through, because so now what this means is you're going to have to title and number them. So that's making it even better. So you're going to have to tell me what it is that you want, because that's the only way I can find it. So what is it? Go ahead.
I just wanted to tell a brief story. I'm not going to hold this.
I love it. I love a story. Yeah.
So
is it another story from Yeshiva?
No, it's from my radio days. Not the Woody Allen movie. Joey Pants was on our morning show, Elvis Duran, the morning show. I don't know, about 15, 20 years ago, maybe something like that. He had a book out, so he came up to promote the book, and he signed the book. And I think he wanted an air check. We wanted something from me to get in touch with him or mail to his house. So for some reason, he gave me his phone number and his address. So I'm not going to hold it up, but I'm looking at Joey Pantoliano on my phone, and I'm like, oh, we should call him and see how great would it be if we get him on the podcast?
You want to call him at midnight or 9:30 on a Friday if he lives.
No, he's East Coast time. He's my wing of the country. No, not going to call him tonight, and he's probably not going to be on any future episode. So, yeah, but I could have booked him. That's all I'm saying.
Is this what you were asking for, Eric? Was Larry the Cable Guy health inspector?
Yes, in fact, I thought we could do an entire episode only about this movie, and Joey Pants is working that. But yeah, Yvonne, like, I do think, again, we will send you a VHS copy of Risky Business. In fact, my VHS copy, there might be 3 parts of it that look like they've been watched a lot. Just ignore them. Just search right by them. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and never borrow my VHS of Kentucky Fried Movie. There is only one part where the tape is worn out, and there's one part only.
High school girls in trouble?
Catholic high school girls in trouble. I mean, I don't even remember, Brody. I haven't seen that movie in years. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the shower scene. What?
I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Back in a few minutes, James.
Daniel's mentioning, of course, the first Matrix for Joey Pants with the steak who betrays him.
The steak betrayed them?
I'm just reading, you know. So yeah, I think that the actor side of it, and something that Ivan Soto points out, I know this is weird, but I still found it weird that this godlike of a man can't get a role that easily. That's actually not the one I wanted to share. It was this one. The actual acting, and we'll get to Ivan's comment, but this is one. The actual acting and all the scenes where they do good acting feels so well done. I do think that you know, they do a great job of you know, Simon preparing, and he seems to, you know, crush his self tapes and auditions and things. Yeah, Daniel, I doubt that's Joey Pants' real house. It would be fun if it was, but it's probably not. But
I did like the idea that in his house, wherever it is, he has not 1 but 2 posters of Baby's Day Out hanging up proudly on the wall. Not The Matrix, Baby's Day Out, twice.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I mean, I have that already.
Those residual checks come in every time it airs. He gets that 87 cents.
Yeah, it's good money, you know. Absolutely.
Gold-plated diapers.
So, yeah, I think that you know, we're getting that, and I of course am hoping for more, and I do mean many more cameos as the show goes along. Now, those of you who have seen 8 episodes, you're going to know what we get or what we do or possibly don't get. But I find that you know, the struggle, you know, he goes in, he storms into the conference room at his agency where they have no interest in talking to him, you know. So yeah, I think that it I don't know. To me, it's all fun, and I enjoyed watching any and all of these things that we got as the episode went along, you know. And I think that I like that we're, once again, it seems to always get kind of pushed by the wayside. We're getting the Department of Damage Control, and Damage Control in the comics was sort of a lighthearted, the group that comes around and, you know, basically cleans up the rubble after, you know, the Avengers knock down a couple skyscrapers. It's a little bit of a different approach. Will we get Tyne Daly? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't think we've seen her since Spider-Man Far From Home. So there was it's fun to see that. Obviously, I like getting the flashback of Trevor. I think the question came up, you know, the last time I think we saw him with Shang-Chi, and my understanding is he just kind of came back with everybody, you know, and he brought the little critter that he had there that now I don't remember his name. It was in the chat earlier. But this is what Ivan said earlier. I know this is weird, but I still found it weird that this godlike of a man can't get a role that easily. It's like somehow putting glasses on a girl makes them ugly. Oh, you mean Rachel Lee Cook and She's All That? Look how ugly she is because she has glasses.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying though, Ivan. Totally get it. And Eric, you know you're gonna have to always wear that wig while we do the show, right? I mean,
It's more comfortable than the Daredevil mask, so I
yeah.
mean, I'll ride a horse till it
We'll
shits.
have an episode where we talk about both, just so you have to put on the Daredevil mask and then the wig over it. Um, sorry. So Daniel says, I wouldn't mind seeing something focused on damage control over time, like a special presentation. We've seen it, what, 3 or 4 times already. Yeah, I am expecting some kind of, Disney Plus one-off or something where we get damage control. I don't know if either of you ever read the notion of damage control. This is very different. But
there was a comic called Maintenance, I think it was its name. And it wasn't like a Marvel or DC. It was, I don't know, like Vertigo, one of the other ways.
It sounds like the same idea. Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, the idea, and in that case too, it wasn't like guys that seemed like agents. It was like just janitors, but they have to clean up like alien guts and whatnot every issue. So.
I did see one that took place in Asgard called Janithor. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did not. I'm like thinking, what am I going to do with that? I'm like, oh, I know.
It was a long road getting there, but it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So now, of course, this is a Marvel Spotlight series. And Eric, I know you highlighted that. Now, was Echo the only other time Werewolf by Night was...
No, that was... wasn't that a Marvel special or something? Marvel...
No, it was this.
You sure?
A special presentation, but I thought it was also Marvel Spotlight. Echo definitely was, but now Brody's making me doubt myself.
No, you might be right. I thought it was...
I think you're both wrong. I don't know what the right answer is, but just in general.
And we get young Simon Williams at the movies with his dad, and he's... checking out, which I always like stuff like this. So this is kind of the late 80s Wonder Man suit where he had the jetpack, and they often give Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, he's often Christmas tree colors or Christmas colors for reasons that I won't pretend to understand. I don't know that I ever quite got them, but it's interesting that this is kind of the look, and this was a wildly unpopular look. He had a one-shot comic where they actually put him in his previous costume on the cover because they're like, well, we want people to buy this. But this is what he looked like when he was first introduced in Avengers #9. So it's the same color scheme, basically. It's like, green and red. He doesn't have those sweet jetpacks there. But I thought it was kind of fun that this, that the Wonder Man movie existed and that this is a reboot, and, the idea that the project might all be just to lure in Simon Williams. I like kind of the mystery and the intrigue because I know his power set from the comic books. But I mean, Brody, did you get a sense, apart from the fact that he really knocked the F out of his wall in his apartment, that we don't really know that much about what he can do,
I think they may have changed his powers for the show.
Yeah.
There must be something they've added that they need to utilize in a scene, because in the comics, he just punches, right? He's got something with his eyes because he was brought back from the dead in later episodes where he's got some kind of mysticism because Brother Voodoo brings him back to life. I think the third time he's dead, he comes back to life. And if he takes his glasses off, there's like a cosmic thing going on. But this seemed like he had almost like a telekinetic power where he could move things, or like he kind of like, while he was getting upset, he kind of exploded a little bit.
I don't know. Not literally like, Cyclops's eye beams, but it is something like
more
that.
like Jean Grey, more like a push kind of thing.
Yeah. Ivan Soto wants to know how many times did he die? I mean, 9. It's so many.
A lot.
For those of you watching live, you're going to see Eric and I talk about Geekscape Book Club from the year 2000, a book called Avengers 2, Wonder Man and Beast. And he had just died recently. And in this book, he talks about at that point, I think the count was at 4 or 5. He's died since then. So it's it's tough to keep track of in all honesty.
He's the Kenny of Marvel, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God, they killed Wonder Man! You bastards!
Again. Yeah, well,
By the way,
and I agree though,
Werewolf
Brody,
by
Go ahead. Werewolf by what? No. Go ahead.
Werewolf by Night. By the way, I looked it up. Sorry, it was a Marvel Studios special presentation originally.
Excellent. We of
According
course
to
saw it on
the
the big
internet.
screen, Eric, which was fun.
Yes, we did.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, and
well, I like that. Listen, not enough Marvel properties name check movies about male hookers, and that's always been to the detriment of the Marvel brand. So to have one that is, all about hustling and whatnot, and the Dustin Hoffman kind of element hung over this first 2 episodes pretty large, because
you're the one who just mentioned Tootsie, by the way. So
yeah, I know I am. I know
Yeah.
I know who said it, but right, Midnight
Why
Cowboy.
would he mention Tootsie? It's a movie about a guy who wears a wig. How would that relate to Eric?
I mean, do we want to talk about John Voight? We probably don't, but he was in multiple. He was in multiple Razzie Award nominated films last year. And I was just reminded, and I don't know, maybe, I think I watched it before I went to college, but I have rarely been as underwhelmed by a classic as I was by Midnight Cowboy. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace, but I was just like, oh no. And they had to license clips from it. Disney doesn't own that.
They spoiled the ending of it. Like, they actually show you the last scene. I'm like, geez, like that's a great way to cut down on residuals for that film.
What do you think about this comment? You want to read this from Ivan Soto, Eric?
I mean, I don't know if I can read this.
I thought Midnight Cowboy was a fake movie. My bad when I realized it's a real movie.
Please send them away. Send by.
No, no, Ivan can stay in the chat, but I'll take that comment off the screen. Brody, for all your hard work, you had to just do what I do. Let Daniel Drew look everything up, because he always finds out. Yes, both Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Holiday Special are both special presentations. Echo and Wonder Man are Marvel spotlights. I'm going to give myself partial credit, because I was right about one of the two things that I said.
I don't know if you know, Secret Invasion was actually technically Marvel Shitlight.
It was a Marvel special ed presentation.
Turn on your shit light. The bell's too far away. It's not worth it. It's also late here in my house.
The version of that inspired that, though, I want to see.
I just went further back in the chat. If we would just listen to Kame Egan, we would have known right away. Yeah. So, in any case,
wasn't Spotlight a movie about priests who abuse children in Boston?
I can neither confirm nor deny. This comment from Daniel Drew is so long that I can't figure out a good way. Here, I'll just put me on the screen. Wonder Man's powers are superhuman strength, speed, agility, stamina and reflexes, ionic energy physiology, enhanced vision and hearing, electromagnetic manipulation, ionic energy manipulation. There's more. And energy, energy enhanced strike, virtual invulnerability, self-sustenance, power recycling, size alteration, healing factor, shapeshifting, teleportation, immortality, and flight.
No.
Forget why he needed the jetpack, but he can fly sometimes. It's true without the jetpack.
He left out can see through underwear with his X-ray glasses.
And lastly, big dick energy. A David Brody story.
Yes.
Yeah. Fiction.
Kame Egan mentions, I love the SCTV version of Midnight Cowboy, which seems like a fine time to comment on the passing of Catherine O'Hara, which was very sad to read. Sometimes you hear someone passed and it's always sad, but it's not always surprising. This one was very surprising. So there's no Marvel connection, so I figured I'd just mention it now. Ivan Soto does ask the question, is South Shore Hospital also a real show?
Only in our
You
dreams.
you try and binge it. How about that? No, it's not a real show. But in any case, we have all sorts of things to cover with this show, and obviously, to me, the appeal is the scenes with Simon and Trevor, and even though Trevor's working for damage control and has to put his ring on his computer, I'm not quite sure. It seems as though he's conflicted and he actually kind of likes this guy, is that a fair assessment, Eric?
He is, throughout this, and I like that, end of episode 1 does that smart turnabout, right? Where it's yes, it's our third meeting. Yes, me and my beautiful hair will follow him. But I think even very early on, right? See, episode 2, even before he puts on the ring, you could see he's kind of like a bit of a mouse in a trap here, and he really doesn't want to do this. And you could see they already, and again, goes back to the idea of chemistry. Like these two actors, like they're really playing well off each other, and in a way that isn't just for like easy laughs or
Yeah.
kind of the opposites, a track buddy cop comedy feel. Like it has none of that. It really is like two artists who feel like, oh, my hair needs to be straighter. Two artists that feel like kind of things are slipping by them now. Great running joke, by the way. Like, are you still a terrorist? I can't get enough of that.
That's true. That is very funny. Sorry, Cammy again. Morris was the creature. That's his name. I was trying to remember. Yes. I would be shocked if we didn't at least see a photo of Morris at some point. So hopefully that's something that we get. In any case, Ivan Soto, why are ring lights a thing? Because if I put it down here, this is what I look like. But now, if I put it back here, and I'm sorry for our audio audience, I did want to demonstrate. They're very necessary.
Yes.
And for self-tapes, for podcasting, and just for looking fabulous with a capital F. I feel like I just had some of the brown acid from Woodstock for whatever's going on with the lights there.
Think how much more effable all three of us look because of our ring lights.
Oh yeah, I should really use that filter so that you don't see the T in my forehead, but that's for another time, I suppose.
Okay, Charlie.
So I'm trying to go through Eric's pictures. It is not as easy as it used to be.
Can I quote one of my favorite Germans? I was following orders.
But you actually suggested it, and
you G-Drive.
Oh yeah, no, but there was an ease for which the way we used to do it. You know what I mean? But that's all right. Well, no one cares. Literally, no one cares except me. I was gonna say no one cares except us, but no, it's just me. It's literally just me. But what's something that we haven't covered yet, Brody? Any of there's a lot of like ancillary, show busy characters. What's something that you'd like to touch on?
Well, we sort of jumped in the middle, but of whatever's going on, but you can't be super powered to be in Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. Yeah,
TV production. What is that? Is this does this take place during the Registration Act period? The Wachovia Accords, or the Sokovia Accords, rather?
Wachovia is a bank. The Sokovia.
Right, I caught myself.
You did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Wachovia was a bank. I think it became a TD bank.
The banker is the villain of that story as well.
Was it the Melania Accords? Whatever it was.
The Wells Fargo Accords. They did call it the Doorman Clause. Thank you. The Doorman. And I figured that they're going to explore that. And those of you who've watched all 8, don't tell us if we're right. We'll find out. We'll get there. And That's the image on the screen is the sort of the thing we're talking about, where he's like literally giving notes to, the prop guys or whatever, and trying to change everything and getting fired off the show. So this is okay because this doesn't spoil it. Just wait for that to be explained. It's something very specific. Thank you, Daniel Drew. Don't say anything else about it, or that's 10 demerits. So yeah, I did think that's interesting. It's not something we've heard about before, and he's like kind of manic when that comes up. He's like, no. He's very much aware of what he's hiding though, and Trevor knows that they're close to him because he's such a dangerous, powered individual, much like you, Eric, right? It must be a burden to try to keep your powers in check at all times.
I have to keep everything in check at all times, and it's my ultimate burden. Especially when sort of like Samson, when I wear my hair, that's where I get my strength.
And everyone knows plaid is a power dampener. For the visual audience.
Marvel T-shirt is a sexual dampener.
Yeah, and this was what you were talking about, Brody, and we could kind of see the look on his face. He's like trying to learn these lines. He's like, yeah, no superpowers. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. And our buddy Daniel made a joke. The doorman is for the man door Lorian. So thank you. And so Cam Egan's gotten through 5 of the episodes, and so far that's the best episode.
Okay,
this is a good question. Go ahead.
Partial spoiler. That's like when you go, "Oh, I saw the movie. I'm not gonna tell you anything happened, but the ending was terrible." Or like, "Oh, there's a surprise ending."
I would appreciate that. It would also mean that it's probably a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I don't know if the self-tape studios are real. I've never seen those, but I'm also not a working or aspiring actor. I could see how they would have that. Now, I do know that you can rent, podcast space and time for the hour. That I know. So it seems like it's a little bit based on that. Eric, are you aware of self-tape studios? And if so, how much do you charge?
Well, there are other places I know you can rent a space for an hour all over Hollywood.
Yeah.
But
the Safari Inn in Burbank.
There's some recording that happens there, but I don't know if it's union or not. I wouldn't, again, I don't know if really you need a self-tape studio. I do think that was kind of a funny plot thread in that it was so small, like the want of that episode, like he just needed to record himself, and that turned into this like after hours Scorsese kind of like odyssey to just try to record that tape, and how
going to Joey Pantoliano's house. Yes, right. Exactly.
But yeah, I think that was kind of like there's content studios all over the place. So, I mean, it's not such a far cry to have a self-tape studio, but to me, it's just speaking about content creation.
Sometimes you absolutely need a space to be able to talk to Joseph Culp about playing Dr. Doom in the 1990 Fantastic Four film. And fortunately, someone who has studio space that they'll let you use for an hour. And we didn't have to pay anyone to do that. But I think
it wasn't the Safari Inn. We didn't have to interview him there. That might have been
awkward
or awesome.
Kind of either way. I'm glad the show's actually filmed in LA. No fake locations passing as LA like it's normally done. There's a part that I know is filmed in Atlanta, but for the most part, I do agree with you that there's a lot of practical on location. The movie theater that they came out of, I'm pretty sure that's in Atlanta, but where they met and outside of there. But yes, there's not just exterior location filming. I think that's important, Brody, to remind us that he's in the thick of it. He really is this aspiring actor who's got a couple of credits, but nothing major. It's I don't know. I feel like they do a good job sort of capturing that. And someone in the chat already, I think it was Ivan, already was comparing it to the best known aspiring actor that most of us have had was young Joey Tribbiani, who went through a lot of these same Tribbiani ulations and trials. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of that. That show's been on.
Nice,
That show premiered 32 years ago, and I just came up with that now. Anyway, but that is a relatable character that I think a lot of people know, who was trying to be an actor, much like Simon. But with greater success.
Let's go a little older, because you always like those references. Wasn't Bobby Wheeler on Taxi an aspiring actor who drove a cab to pay the bills? Right. So.
Right. Yes. No. Absolutely. I appreciate that, but it's not in my sweet spot of references. I could have mentioned Joey Tribbiani's turn as Dr. Drake Ramore on Days of Our Lives, but we don't have time.
No.
Have we seen this guy from Damage Control before? Because we were talking about Damage Control earlier. I don't recognize him. I don't remember him.
Yeah, no, he's shown up in something else.
Okay,
but I'll tell you, I could not remember what. But we have seen
Reed Richards. That Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four movie? No.
Actually, hold on. You know what? I think he's from Succession. I think I just conflated this in a different show entirely. I think he was he was a recurring character in that show. So
this is basically the same show as Succession.
Yeah, his character is, by the way, no difference between that character and this character. So he definitely has his niche.
So yes. So Arian Moayed plays Agent P. Cleary, who he's reprising a role from Spider-Man No Way Home. It's Cleary, but I always want to lean into something that'll make Brody giggle. It's that, and that's a fact check. But
at a certain age, you want to pee clearly as much as you can. So
yeah, well, yeah, I'm about to be 50. You don't have to tell me. So so he was this character in No Way Home, which oddly enough I saw recently, and that's why I remember Tyne Daly was in it, but I don't remember him. See, look at this. Why do I ever look everything up? I just wait. You guys all know everything. So I think that the way that these two episodes kind of build, and I mean, you want to talk about a quick watch, but I was messaging our buddy Daniel Drew about this, that it's not in the way where it like flies by and you feel like they barely, they pack a lot into these episodes. And I'm usually the first one to complain about how Disney Plus shows are all so short, except they're all about a half an hour. So it's all right. It's not like the first one was an hour and then we got one that was 27 minutes. So,
well, the actual runtime from what I saw last night is about like 23 minutes with the recaps and then credits and everything. We always want to know who did the voices for the Czech Republic. So I watch all the way through to the very end. It says start next episode. I'm like, nope. I want to know who dubbed this in Farsi. And are we going to talk about Uliana and her great vocal performance? I thought she was fantastic.
Should be better than she was in Daredevil Born Again. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a great recollection from our buddy Ivan Soto, sort of the text message, and Trevor like, no, I don't want to seem desperate, and just sort of waiting, and then eventually, okay, now it's time to text him back. Look, that also reminded me of Swingers, Eric. You got to play it cool sometimes,
6 days.
Yeah. No, that's insane. We can't talk about it. All right. I'll move on. So, we get to kind of the big reveal where Trevor sees kind of the handiwork of Simon that, I referenced it earlier, that he just demolishes the wall, not Roger Waters' epic. That's not what I'm talking about, but in his apartment. And it really had me wondering, and thank you, Daniel, for giving us all of his comic book power set. We still don't know here. Although, to be fair, Daniel has seen all 8 episodes, so he might have a better idea of what his power set is on the series.
In fairness to Wonder Man and Daniel, whatever he did was included in that list. because that listed everything.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, I believe he also had a prehensile tail. Was listed in there.
The ability to clear up eczema with just a blink of an
A-
eye.
and pee apparently. Pee clear.
Freely.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and again, this isn't really a spoiler. I get nervous when something starts with no spoilers, but Ivan points out that they explain his powers on screen. Anyway, so again, the three of us are not in the know. We don't know what comes next, but our next episode will be Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We know that our pal Katie will be with us, and it'll be good to see Katie Hampton again. And I believe Christina, aka the Wisecracking Blonde, will be with us, and Eric will be with us. Schedule permitting, Brody will be with us. Nate, our friend Nate Miller, very busy on set. So we'll have to make sure we get to him, get to include him before we're all done. Maybe when we're recapping episode 8.
It gives me time to get my hair a little more accurate, a little more Ben Kingsley accurate.
Yes.
As well.
So
I'm gonna need all 3 days to do that.
Again, pointing out to everyone that we haven't seen episodes 3 and beyond. What are we hoping to get from the next 6 episodes? I'll ask you first, Eric.
Well, more of that list of powers would be nice.
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
Well, and I think that's the thing. It's like it's making us wait. So what we deserve, what we expect, is just all right. They're gonna have to start letting the genie out of the bottle a little bit more. But I think also too, I'm waiting for those moments of him on set. Oh, and this is for our radio audience. This is one of, again, 2 references to Tootsie from this first couple episodes. One being he's a perfectionist. He's a tomato that doesn't sit down in the case of Tootsie, and that's how he loses a job. The case here, he was a walk-on who decided to give backstory. Second piece of this is him talking to the great late Sidney Pollack about, you promised to send me up for Iceman Cometh, just like how Wonder Man runs over to his agent to yell at her for not putting him up for Wonder Man.
Yeah.
So it definitely took more than a page from the Tootsie playbook. And I don't know, maybe halfway through he will dress as a woman.
Ironically, not the image I wanted to share, because I wanted this one while we talked about it. But anyway, yeah, that's actually what I wanted. But that's fine.
Major brick in the wall. But yeah, I definitely I feel like we're gonna get that Pee-wee's Big Adventure chaos happening on set during a movie where you don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, I think that's good. What are you hoping to see, Mr. Brody?
I would like to see him in a modernized Wonder Man costume, the green and red, classic, with his muscles and looking like a superhero. I think that'll be a nice nod. Even though he doesn't really wear a costume anymore in the comics, he wears that red jacket all the time.
He's gone back to the red jacket because there was an era with the red jacket, but then he went back to the red and green. Yeah.
And then there was a very brief period where John Byrne gave him a red, green, and yellow costume that lasted, I think, an issue and a half. It got destroyed in a fight with Count Nefaria, maybe. And then he said, "The hell with it! My costumes keep getting ruined. I'm just going to wear this red jacket."
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on now. I would like to see, in honor of one of our listeners, some more cameos. For Cam Egan, some cameos.
That we get some more cameos. Yes, exactly.
Right. If he's in California, we don't know what year this is, but maybe Ms. Marvel is in California, right? Because she went to California to meet a friend. The Wasp, the Rudds, the Ant-Man family is out there. So maybe there's some California superhero connection, maybe just walking by in the background. Paul Rudd will show up to the opening of a grocery store. So
maybe his friend, Miss Marvel, will just stop by.
Or maybe maybe her dad will be in a bank. I don't know. I just had a thought. Maybe we get that.
Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. It's like, I also get that reference. So, look, this is a really fun show. I would recommend it to non-Marvel people because so far it hasn't been too Marvel-y, and it is something that I think actors, writers, production people, they would appreciate some of the humor, but obviously even somebody who just sort of loves the world, and all the talk of Tootsie and working actors like Joey Tribbiani and Dustin Hoffman's character in Tootsie, whose character name I don't know. I'm sorry.
Michael Dorsey.
Thank you.
Nice.
I would hit the bell if I could.
Is this the Disney Plus version of Andor? In other words, it's not exactly like everything else. It sort of touches on the world we're familiar with, but it's completely nothing like it. And you don't have to know about the Force, and you don't have to know about Darth Vader. And
I could see that. Yeah. It's probably also the case that Dave Filoni hates this, but really likes the garbage shows. So, be excited that he's in charge, everyone, because he hated Andor. But anyway, that's not what the point you were trying to make.
No.
Yeah, but it is a little bit more accessible, but I feel like as the 8 episodes go along, it will feel a little bit less accessible. But
oh yeah, it'll be more Marvel-y, superhero-y, I imagine. But for now, you could drop into this show without knowing anything,
right?
Yeah, about any other property.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, I even told like my wife, I said, like, I think this is a Marvel show like you would really like because she, despite being surrounded by hair and boys and men and dogs, like she's still Marvel. She'll go to because she humors us. But this is one I think, to your point, like, yeah, I think you could just sit down and watch this, and if you're none the wiser, you'll be fine because the story is up front and center. The characters are driving this narrative, so you don't need to know the 1,001 bits of trivia that the three of us have in our heads.
Yeah, no, and it's similarly, I did mention to my wife, who is a television writer and has, spent time on set much more recently than I have. I was like, oh yeah, you'll probably think it's funny. I don't think she's definitely got no time right now because there's a new season of Bridgerton, and I'm like, all right, I get it. This is perfect. I'll watch this, you watch that. No problem. Everybody wins. In any case, so we're excited to talk about episodes 3 and 4 on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That is if you want to watch it live right here on Geekscape. If you just subscribe to the audio podcast, which everyone should do, it'll just show up. You'll have it probably Tuesday afternoon, maybe Wednesday morning. And watch along with us. If you haven't already binged the whole thing, then I'm probably going to watch episodes 3 and 4 after Eric and I are done in a little bit. So looking forward to continuing the conversation and being back in the saddle, as they say, and getting to do this show. Again, I know that it's tough to find time to motivation to do it when there isn't new Marvel content, but we'll do our part. We'll come up with some fun stuff, but you can always find previous episodes on the Geekscape YouTube channel and of course the podcast feed. Speaking of podcast feeds, if somebody thinks like, boy, I really enjoyed that David Brody, where do I go to get more of him? Where would they do that, David Brody?
Well, for the visual audience, you can look at that social media right there at David Brody. You can find me on most of the socials, and you can find me, of course, on the Brooklyn Boys podcast, 2 episodes a week, wherever you get your podcasts. If you like comedy and obnoxious humor from a Brooklyn perspective, sign up. It's free.
What if someone was looking for a Staten Island perspective? They need not apply.
No, you have to listen to the Brooklyn Boys podcast, but pay a $15 toll. That's the only difference, really.
Should love that answer.
One bridge.
The B&T crowd.
Yes. Eric Conner, if you and I will be sticking around on the live stream, but for people who want more of you, where would they go to do that?
God help you if you want more of me, but if you need more of me, Count Eric Conner, ERICCONNER, hanging out on the X and on the Insta, and come on by and say hello. It'd be lovely to digitally see you.
Daniel Drew does make the point. We have a bunch of season 2s dropping this year in animation and live action, so it's a great year for Marvel. Season 2 of Daredevil, we mentioned X-Men 97, Season 2, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 2. Those are all going to happen this year. So I'm excited to be covering all of those shows. If you want more of me, you can find me on social media at Christian DMZ. You can find my personal podcast, The Blattcast, BLADTCAST. I also co-host a show with the great Eric Zane, the one of several Erics in my life in terms of podcasting, called Who Are These Broadcasters? It is Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel. And programming note, you don't want to watch Bad Bunny halftime at the Super Bowl. I don't blame you. I don't either. So you can go to the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel for our Who Are These Broadcasters counter programming to the big game, where we'll be joined by the great Dennis Miller. So we see what he's been up to. He's, I don't know, 98% retired is probably the best way to describe it. But I decided I would play the card that it's my 50th birthday. Let's record a segment with me, Dennis Miller, and Eric Zane. So you'll be able to find that Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th. It is my birthday, February 8th. So if you watch, you can super chat, but you could also just say happy birthday in the chat. But, say it with money, money before funny, as my friend Tukey says. In any case, Brody, I know we're going to bid you adieu. So do you have any final words?
I can't wait now that I'm allowed to watch episodes 3 and 4. I can't wait to watch them since you forbade us from doing that.
Do not watch episode 5.
Damn it. Okay. 3 and 4 it is. And
there is actually a perfect way to end this. Can't even get points out. Eric's luscious locks will return in Doomsday. And I think that's accurate. I think everything will return in Doomsday.
Well, you guys saw the director's chair with the wig on the back of the chair.
with Eric's wig, yes. Yeah. And just in case anybody wanted to check, it's only a little bit closer. Yeah. Oh, now you can't see anything. So that's the way to do it. In any case, thank you, Mr. Brody. We will definitely see you soon, and hope you had a great birthday, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will talk to you soon. As the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior! And welcome to the Geekscape Book Club. Very excited to be with our returning champion, the great Count Eric Conner. Very excited to be here with you. And
probably could change my name away from Luscious Locks. I'm not sure if that's on brand for our discussion.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah, exactly. I have to change it, don't I?
No, I can do it. I got it.
No, it's fine. I got it. Let's do this for the crowd. In any case, we are here and we're talking about a book that I had never read before. And that's a lot of what we try to do here in the Geekscape Book Club. And before we dive into it, stay tuned, because at the end of the show, I'm going to map out what we'll be reading for the rest of 2026. I actually found 11 books that we'll be reading. And I always say this, but we're within our rights to call an audible and throw in an extra one at any point during the year. We haven't done it yet, have we, Eric? But we're always ready to, aren't we?
Listen, at any given notice, we could go left instead of going right. So just be ready. Life changes every day. But I do think we know the sort of release schedule of Marvel for this year until they change it. So I think we're sort of safely, we could sort of safely lay out a game plan for 12 months.
Yeah.
Although part of me thinks that maybe Doomsday will not appear in 26. I don't want to be a cynic. I get you. Telling me
it's not impossible, but I hope we get it. But what we have gotten already is Wonder Man, and we have already reviewed the first 2 episodes over on our show, Marvel Movie Talk. So please check that out if you have not seen that as of yet. And if you're just checking out Wonder Man, please head over there and do that with all due haste. We appreciate that. So the series that we read for this is called Avengers 2, Wonder Man and Beast. Now, these are 2 characters that I enjoy very much. The Beast, I think, is much more high profile and more associated with the X-Men for a time, X Factor, but that's an offshoot of the X-Men. But he was actually an Avenger for quite a while before he split to join the New Defenders. And I thought it was fun to spend time with Hank McCoy and Simon Williams, who I got to know in the pages of West Coast Avengers. That's where I really got to see him. He had a solo book. And this series, these 3 issues, were written by Roger Stern, who was the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, sort of at like what at the time was kind of a renaissance for it, introducing the Hobgoblin, being in the director's chair as the writer for Spidey getting the black suit, and was unceremoniously fired and replaced by Tom DeFalco, who was editor-in-chief. But he did some great work before that, so it was fun to see him. And Mark Bagley is an artist that people associate with Spider-Man. He also was the artist on New Warriors. And the most interesting thing about Mark Bagley is that he was the winner of the Marvel Tryout book, which was you would buy it and you would try to, capture the Marvel style and then submit it. And then some. So basically, he's like Jesse Camp at MTV, except he's
Justin Guarini.
A little bit more talented than both of those, but yes.
No one's
and also, he was at Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California this past year, and he signs free posters for kids, and he also requested if it was okay first, and I said sure it is, and he drew a spider on my son Felix's hand, so he walked around with a spider on his hand. So I'm very fond of Mark Bagley is what I'm trying to get at all across the board. This is kind of I would say this is a fun romp, Avengers 2. Do you think that that's a good way to describe it, Eric?
Romp is a word not used enough, but I think you're using it completely accurately here. The 2 of them together, they're really a fun partnership, and I don't recall these 2 previously like kind of hanging out together unless there was a series I just didn't know.
They were on the Avengers at the same time in the 70s during the stretch when the Beast wasn't with the X-Men. Yeah.
Right. So, but did they were they teamed up a lot back then as a duo, or was this the first time where it was just like you?
I mean, it's the first time in a while. I would say. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's one of those. We've talked before how much we like these like team ups, and really to me that's where I think down the road the Marvel Cinematic Universe is gonna, I think, do better by that than continually trying to connect everything. But yeah, these 2 they're a really fun pair, and the story it's a lighter one. It doesn't feel like galaxies are going to collide in this or anything close to that, but yet I found myself actually caring about the travails they were facing and rooting for them. And it was, for me, I hadn't sat down and read a comic with Hank in a while. Like I grew up reading X-Men, of course, like yourself.
Of course,
but
yeah.
I don't remember the last time I just sat down and was like, oh, I just want to read a Beast heavy story. And so this scratched an itch I didn't even know I had.
Yeah, and the present day iteration of Hank McCoy is unfortunate, and do my part to stay away from reading that, because this is how I like to think of him. Like the affable, erudite, the wordsmith, the guy who throws around SAT words, and basically the Kelsey Grammer of the X-Men. That's why he was so well cast as a voice. He's the Frasier of the X-Men, and this is the way I like to think of him. He's a very fun, light character who is a beast and will tear your head off if only he had to. And the panel that you selected here is I believe this is the pilot of, he calls him Sir Pilot. And the pilot just says, okay, don't bite me, So, it's definitely got some of that fun. The interesting thing that I found about this is that it is so wrapped up in what at that point was present day continuity, that there are so many asterisks and there are so many references to things.
And that slows the read down. That was my
that's my this is not an easy, like, you can jump right in. I had and it sort of worked against me that I had background with the character that went to, I don't know, probably like 1992 instead of 1999. I wasn't around for when he died that most recent time. I had no idea that he was ever with Wanda, but it makes sense because Vision is created from his brain pattern. And it's even referenced that Simon's own mother considers Vision one of her kids, the other, of course, being Simon's older brother, who's the Grim Reaper, the superhero, not the Death on Family Guy, voiced first by Norm Macdonald and then Adam Carolla. So not that. that's not Simon Williams's. But yeah, so there's their supporting cast of non-powered cast that were from a Wonder Man book that I did not read. There was a Wonder Man series that I kind of remember, but I was not familiar with any of this. I liked that he's got the agent character who couldn't be any more of a typical agent, the media portrayal of an agent is what I'm getting at. But one of the things is just how many times Simon had died. And he even goes to visit his grave at Forest Lawn Cemetery, not far from either of us. It's got the local sites, which of course are on display on the Wonder Man television series, but this book has it as well. But I, again, not being familiar with this exact era, this is actually right in the time where I just stopped reading everything. I wasn't even reading X-Men at this point.
So this was 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, same. If you could actually circle back to that one slide. One of the reasons I pulled this for our radio audience, this is him visiting one. I assume he's got graves all over because this guy has died so many times. So I imagine Forest Lawn and then maybe Potter's Field or someplace that's a little more low rent. But this here, he name drops Antigone, written by Sophocles, who this spoke to me in two ways. One, Forest Lawn is right down the road from where both Christian and I reside. And I recently was approached by someone who works there who I know, asking me if I want to buy a plot.
What do they know about you that you didn't know? That
I don't know, and I hadn't spoken to the gentleman in a while, so
so
it was a
he got a hot tip. You might be looking.
I gotta act soon, or else I don't know, my plot of Forest Lawn might be right next to, I don't know, Jumbo's Clown Room at this point. It's not going to be high real estate.
That's a great pull, and I did choose that phrase carefully, considering where you're talking about.
Hey, but yes, I acted in Antigone as a young, beardless high schooler.
Now that I didn't.
Yes, I had, I think, about 4 lines in there. And I believe my character also, sort of like Simon Williams, died once or twice. Not the best production ever done. I'm glad Sophocles was well dead and buried by the time our production happened. And for any of my, I don't know, friends who were in that production, I think we should get the band back together and take it on the road, maybe perform at Forest Lawn. We'd have the same audience.
I mean, I think that sounds like that's the plan. I, of course, saw you in Little Shop of Horrors,
Yes, you
so
did. I was a little
yeah.
more lively in that until I wasn't.
Well, I was just saying, right up until
Until
the
I was
time that you
deaded.
weren't. Our buddy Daniel Drew agrees. I wouldn't say no to team up movies or shows focusing on two characters in the MCU in the future, but the first one should certainly be Heroes for Hire. We were this close to getting Heroes for Hire if the Netflix universe had continued to grow. There was the episode of Luke Cage that Danny Rand goes to visit his buddy in Heroes for Hire, Luke Cage, and we were so close. What could
Well,
have
it feels
been,
like
but
it feels like Midnight Suns. That seems to be
yes,
like the one
right.
that I keep reading about, and there was a very well received game that came out a few years back. So it feels like that might be a kind of a nice sort of safe team up that doesn't require 100 characters being introduced like the Eternals. But then also can sort of break some new ground, but while still leaning on characters we've already established.
You have pulled an image of what was kind of a fun moment, and then this is, of course, the lighter side of Hank that we get to see, where he's just reciting the opening from Dragnet because they're at the LA County Courthouse, which is, it's on the badge, it's in the opening of Dragnet, both the television series and the hilarious film with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd, which, by the way, I loved as a child. The
You
Dragnet
did,
film.
and I meant to send you the image, because the Dragnet movie from the '80s had the single greatest button in the history of comedy, right up there with like Some Like It Hot. Nobody's perfect. The Virgin Connie Swales.
Yes, and yeah,
Perfect joke. Perfect
yes.
joke. And so yes, I
And
Dragnet's
and
my
they
favorite
were
one.
and they were seeking out pagan people against good and normalcy.
Normalcy, right?
And sometimes these shows we're just doing things for each other. That's me flexing that I could remember it without Googling it and
So
just
cool.
trying to prove that I really did love that movie.
Oh, it was
So
the best. What was his name? Streetbeck? Pep
Streetback.
Street.
Yeah.
Yep, Pep. And so here too. Also, I like anytime someone uses the term Philistine. Big
Yeah, I
fan.
agree.
My friend Jason Stein's mom was named Phyllis, so I have a personal connection to that as well. That and Antigone.
Um our friend Jackie would ask if a Philistine would just be someone, a member of the Jewish faith at Pat's Cheesesteaks. Would that be a Philistine?
Hey.
This is like after midnight on the no, this is after 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So we figure why not, So but anyway, let's get back to the book at hand.
My dog is asking us to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's enough. Uh, Stop me before I sub reference again. Not if I can help it, says Hank. So yeah, we get some. We're reminded of the agility of Hank McCoy as the Beast. What was it about this image that our visual audience sees that you selected for me?
It took me a while to find his face, so I spent an unusually high amount of seconds staring at his crotch. I wasn't really sure which end was up in Beast here, and I'm
Yeah.
here for that. Like even if you look at his leg, I was like, wait, is that his face? And then there's a face behind. So this I will say this one frame, it just sort of confounded me in the
Yes,
best
I agree.
possible way. But that being said, by the way, I think the art in this, the penciling, the ink, fantastic. I think it was really
Yeah.
beautifully drawn and more times than not very easy to follow.
Yes.
Crotch confusion aside.
Yes, which you've been dealing with that for decades, crotch confusion. So it's it is nothing new at this point, at least according to Mrs. Conner, is my understanding. So
I'll stop you when
and
you're wrong.
yeah, so we're dealing with some of these tertiary characters, and there are some things where we're kind of caught in the moment of when these books were published, so I believe they're in the year 2000, or the cover date's the year 2000, 99, 2000. And we definitely get sort of the midriff era, the Wanda Maximoff hasn't always looked like this. There's like abs on top of abs, and there's I thought it was kind of funny because I'm like, oh yeah, that's a very 90s kind of approach. But I think you presented this image for a different reason, but it reminded me of the picture that I had. By the way, Daniel is always a favorite because he enjoys us. So thank you, Daniel. We really appreciate the fact that you enjoy what we do.
And this is she the Enchantress?
No, so she's not the Enchantress, which was interesting. She's a different character, but the Enchantress is in Simon's first appearance.
Yeah.
Is she heavily factors into it, and in fact, if you look at Avengers #9, you see the Enchantress there and Baron Zemo. So he was tied to the Enchantress and mind control and those kind of motivations. It's actually something that he references in it. There's a lot of like Wayne's World-esque "we're not worthy" talk in this, and
Right.
lots of asterisks, as I mentioned, referring to past books. And
So
it's
many.
like, see Avengers Volume 3, number 11, and Avengers Volume.
Right. What? I'm sorry. Keep going.
And Avengers Volume 1, number 9, which you'd think that the Avengers 9 and Avengers 11, those are only 2 issues apart. No, they're 55 years
Right.
apart.
That was and that's the thing that drove me batty with all the asterisks, beyond just the fact it kept slowing down the read. Was like, yeah, you're dealing with Avengers #3. It's like, which #3? Like,
yeah,
but not to sound like the old man on the hill with the gray beard that I am, but like, the truth is, like, when we were growing up reading comics, you knew, like, I don't know, when you hit the number 300 for X-Men or Spider-Man, that was like a big deal.
yeah.
And so the idea that they constantly reset the numbers, I know they've been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
But it is one of those, especially in those moments when it asterisks and gives us a back issue. Then you're like, it's impossible to find that. It actually used to be, those were helpful. I would read comics, it would reference something that I didn't remember I had, and then I would go and look and like, oh yeah, I remember that now. So yeah, it just sort of, it's like a map to nowhere, basically.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because they, when they get close to a milestone, they revert to legacy numbering. So I remember buying Amazing Spider-Man number 800, but it was like volume 5, and they were on like issue like 62 right before that, or whatever it is. And speaking more in generalities, you don't have to correct me, Daniel, what issue was before number 800. They're about to have issue 900, but it's also like they had another number 1 a few years ago. So it's very confusing. And what makes it easy is, I guess, when you read it all digitally, you can just kind of go forward,
Well, it's the famous Rambo case of the 80s, where First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3.
Yes.
Never been more confused by anything in my young life at that time. And I'm also a fan of using colons on top of colons.
Well, I was hoping that we were going to one day get Star Trek The Next Generation, which has a colon, Star Trek The Next Generation, the motion picture. I thought we would have gotten double, but that's not what they did. They instead went to First Contact. And so this is sort of something I was referencing earlier, is just Simon in a relationship with Wanda. It just doesn't feel right because we all think of her with Vision. But,
he was like a rebound, which I thought was kind of fun, though. It's like, once you go Vision, it's like, where do you go next? Well, Wonder Man. That's your sloppy second.
Well, again, it's his brain pattern, so it does make sense. And that was actually what I was thinking. I'm like, oh yeah. The talking about the lighthearted nature of Hank McCoy, he's using sort of this image inducer that Nightcrawler used to use a lot, and Hank's used it, but he's sitting on the plane next to Simon, and he changes to first Abraham Lincoln, and then of course Curly from the Three Stooges.
And I particularly like it's Curly with gray, like a little bit of gray hair, right? Because Curly was usually shaved, but he wasn't naturally bald. He was always shaved. So the idea of a Curly who reached old age. So it's
well,
like
and he knew better than to shift into Curly Joe Besser, because I don't think Simon would have gotten it.
Or Joe Davula or any right. Although I would have been very happy to see Larry Fine get some love. I think
Well,
that would be more
especially if it
appropriate
was
for
the
Beast.
older, if it was the older Larry Fine as voiced by the great Billy West, or
I'm
possibly
wanting
the
him.
older Groucho Marx voiced by the great Gilbert Gottfried.
Uh,
Daniel Drew points out that they literally just had Doctor Strange 450 as a standalone issue between two runs, and there were barely any variant covers. I'd rather they made the first issue, the current run, also be 450. I agree. And I mean, this would have driven me crazy when I was collecting comics and alphabetizing them and putting them in numerical order in volume 1 and volume 2. Eric, you're holding up something important.
Yeah, this is a very special comic, and I
I
hold this up to.
I know why you have it.
Oh,
Why
I
don't you
know
tell
you.
people?
Solo Avengers, starring Hawkeye and Moondragon, but more importantly, starring a young Chris Blatt. Chris Blatt.
Oh, I forgot they did. I forgot that. Yes,
Chris
I forgot
Blatt.
that.
With your address, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm going to dox you.
You can't dox it
box
because
134.
No. It's a rural delivery box. And my town. No one cares about this. My town doesn't. They didn't have 911 service, and when they installed it, everybody got numbers and street addresses. So rural delivery for box 134 is not doxing my old house. My parents don't live there anymore. So, but
whoever is there, I'm doxing them. Those
you wouldn't be able to find it because they're 35, the street that I lived on. So,
well, but by the way, the letter before yours is from someone from Wilmington, Delaware.
It was practically
it all goes back to us. It was like destiny for us to be together. But I'm saying that Chris Blatt, not this old bastard Christian Blatt, is about to be 50.
This son of a bitch is about to be 50. Yeah, this is a
kid. Chris Blatt would have written a strongly worded and high volume worded letter to Marvel to deal with the numbering system. And I'm a little sad that as you hit 50, you don't feel like you have that power anymore. And I'm telling you, you do.
Yeah.
And I think you should write a letter to Marvel, specifically to the Solo Avengers starring Hawkeye and Moondragon.
So it was Hawkeye every issue, and then it was a different Avengers related character, and that one happened to be Moondragon. I think the one I'm writing about was Wonder Man, or I'm saying that I want more Wonder Man. Is that correct? Is that why you're trying to shame me in something that I was actually very proud of when I was like 15 or however old I was?
Chris Blatt, because I'm not going to call you Christian now. Chris Blatt.
I mean, not as you refer to that. By the way, what's the publication date of that? Because I
1988.
Okay, so I'm 12.
Yeah. Well, I brought this to my dear wife Lauren's attention, and Lauren said, without irony, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
Yeah. I'm also in Marvel Tales number 212 has a letter from me as well.
Has your wife ever said that was cool?
No, about anything that's related to me.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying you have options. I mean, it's my wife. I'd rather I still have her but I'm just saying Heather needs to up her game and appreciate the genius that, she lives with and helped provide a couple of children into her life. So I'm proud of you, Chris Blatt.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know if you're suggesting like a Fritz Peterson, Mike Kekich thing, but I'm not interested. So, just wanted to go extra deep right there. Yeah, the book was called Ball 4 for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, tag that at third.
So anyway, we're talking about
Obviously.
So I was very proud to have letters printed. I loved the letters page, and it was, it was like our version of Twitter, where we could let them know how upset we were about things, but
I was a little younger than that when I got to call in on a radio show when Gorilla Monsoon, the famed wrestler, was on. and I got to ask him a question. I was probably 9 and 10. But to me,
Now,
at that moment, I felt alive in ways that
th-
I still try to chase that feeling.
this might sound crazy, but as someone who has a cassette of every time he was on the radio, actually going back to when I was requesting a song from the Dragnet movie. That's why I'm laughing, is because I didn't.
With the Art of Noise version of the Dragnet theme?
No, the song was called City of Crime. And I wanted to hear it.
Hi, this is Chris Bladt from
No, my voice hadn't changed yet. That's like 1986. So I had the little girl voice. Anyway.
Also, it wasn't the awkward in between voice.
No. Yeah. We may have gone off the rails a little bit
Not
here,
at all,
Eric.
but I will request a special episode, maybe in honor of your 50th year on this earth, where we play a bunch of this old tapes, you requesting songs. I would help curate it in a heartbeat because I think it deserves to be shared.
Yeah, there's
a market for it.
I'm too. You mean it's a market of you? Even Daniel is like, I don't want to hear that. He did give us a fun fact. My friend Cardiff Electric loves fun facts. Wonder Man filmed in over 75 locations in LA County. Oh, hello. So, yes. So in any case. I'm not quite. Oh yeah, but you were talking about my letters page, and I really like the character of Wonder Man. I like legitimately loved the West Coast Avengers, like the combination of that team, and I don't even want to mention quite how old I was when I realized that that character's name is Tigra. I read it as Tigra, but she's a tiger, so her name is Tigra, but what's the saying? Don't make fun of someone who mispronounces words because it means they learned it from reading. Well, that's how I learned her name, So please don't make fun of me, Eric.
Well, why would I? Chris Bladt, I believe in, and I would never make fun of him. Christian, maybe.
He's not here, so
Chris Bladt is the guy in front of me. Well, I also think this is where I'm excited about that idea of new Avengers, old Avengers, some potential lawsuit between the two entities. I think that's kind of great because I agree. Like and I think I told you I thought it was West Coast Avengers for some reason initially.
Oh yeah, you have said that. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Do you need a drink of water? I could vamp. I could talk about some of my other radio phone calls that I made.
No, I'm good. Although I would love to hear it. But you could vamp. You could vamp me to sleep later.
I was on a kid show on NPR where they would let you call in and count down the 5 songs of the day. So there's me still with my little girl voice saying that the number 1 song is Belinda Carlisle, Heaven is a Place on Earth.
Hi, everyone. It's Chris Bladt.
I would have to. Hey, it would take me a minute to find this cassette, but you have definitely come up with an idea that's worth my 50th birthday. But I do want to go ahead.
Oh, I love that. You're right. The original. Well, no, West Coast Avengers, please, because I feel like your knowledge dwarfs mine in a lot of different categories. But here, like West Coast Avengers, was it originally like a limited series and then they turned it into a regular?
Yeah, they did, and obviously we end up, even back then, especially, they were well aware of the idea that first issues sold well for collectability. So they didn't do what they did with the Transformers miniseries, which was after the miniseries was so successful, they just went to issue 5. So West Coast Avengers had a volume 1, and then it was followed by the volume 2, which is the image that I shared. And I was just excited. There was a part of this was like, Avengers the regular Avengers book was at like, I don't know, issue 245 at this point, but I could get in on West Coast Avengers in issue 1. And that was exciting to me. Like when Marvel Team Up ended and Web of Spider-Man #1 came out, it was a Spider-Man book that I was there at the beginning,
and it was him in the black costume on that one, right?
Yeah, it's a great cover, but I was not prepared to get that. Instead, I had just gotten volume 1 of West Coast Avengers, where we didn't know what the lineup for the team was. And I don't know that Cyclops or Puck from Alpha Flight. I guess you had an even chance. Hercules ended up being in the regular Avengers, so that isn't too. But we also have Natasha. We have the Black Widow. There's a lady there with like red hair who I don't know. Is that Debbie Gibson? I'm actually not sure who there's like right next to Hawkeye. You see where I'm talking about. I don't know who that is.
Is she Frenchie from Greece?
Yes, actually, you know what? That's who she is.
Her superpower is just about changing her hair.
The reason I bring up the West Coast Avengers is just sort of this like golden era. This is before both Vision and Scarlet Witch end up as part of the West Coast Avengers at one point. But this, the Silver Centurion Iron Man, which was Tony Stark getting back into the suit after Rhodey had been Iron Man, while the very kid-friendly, for me starting reading comics, the very kid-friendly storyline of Tony Stark being a drunk and literally living in the gutters of New York City.
Tony is a drunk, a big, stupid drunk. Sorry, I just had to bring it back to Jackie for a second.
Yeah. So Daniel's asking about Natasha with the short red hair. Yes. I'm talking about sort of, like red hair, like there's a ginger lady next to Hawkeye. I have no idea who that is. Like maybe somebody thought they were funny and put Louise Simonson on the cover and be like, oh, yeah. But
I also like this idea of like the whole notion of this number 1 to 4 issue series, Hawkeye front and center, they're all happy.
Of course.
And Avengers Assemble, and he's so joyful about it. But then, like, you don't know who it is. It has a weird energy sorry, it's a wrestling reference, but when they will occasionally do drafts between SmackDown and Raw to see who's going to go on which show. So that idea of almost like you kind of get this issue hoping, like, is there a scene of literally him just reading off names? And it's like a lottery system, which it was, if I recall, was not that. But I wanted it to be, and I still want it to be.
Yeah, the one under the bow. I can't play who that character is, and I'm not gonna lie, it's distracting me. So let's go back to this. Yes. You know what? You nailed it. Or it's the Flintstone version, Aunt Marg Rock or whatever her name was. Yeah.
Sharon Stone.
Well, that one worked.
That was Halle Berry's character name, I believe, was Sharon
Stone.
But
yes, actually, it absolutely was. So back to the book that we're actually talking about here. This is making for a good listen for people who don't get to see the visuals of some of these characters and things. I really enjoyed Wonder Man as part of this team. Wonder Man and Tigra had a thing at one point, and Hawkeye was married to Mockingbird. So Tony was just kind of, the fifth wheel. But Tony did, don't cry for him because Tony always did fine, but in any case, so look, I liked the character. I always had fun with it. And I was very pro West Coast Avengers. I hated when they renamed the title Avengers West Coast. And the only reason they did that was because comic shops put them alphabetically. So that's why actually the book you held up changed its name to Avengers Solo. No, Avengers Spotlight, sorry. So it had been Solo Avengers, and then it changed its name. You know what, Daniel, I don't think that's Julia Carpenter, Madam Web. Julia Carpenter, as in Spider-Woman, is that who we're talking about from Secret Wars? It's a good question. I'm gonna drop it but in a future episode, I'm going to
Now I
try
gotta
and tell
see if I
people
have
about it.
that issue somewhere in my old comic collection. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the idea of I love this one panel here of Hank and Beast, two sides of the same face, and it's such a great visual, and it's one I don't remember seeing that much of just him
No, because
transform.
he usually can't change back and
Right,
forth,
right, right,
and
right.
this is using the image inducer. So yeah, you don't usually get that. It's like I did like, they took artistic license where when Peter Parker's spider sense would go off, he'd have like
Yeah,
half
half
the
the
Spidey
face.
face. And if our buddy David Brody was here, I would talk about Steve Ditko, who Brody's not a fan of. But we also kind of get the
Many moments of
backstory
backstory.
of how, he was the Beast, which he not blue and furry for quite some time, actually. I think his entire tenure as a member of the original X-Men. And then this sort of happened in, Amazing Adventures Volume 2, number 16 or whatever, which is another episode, another instance of an asterisk referring to a book that I'm not going to lie. I actually do. I'm not going to say I wouldn't. I would probably want to read that. The story where he first
Yeah.
became blue and furry. I'm kind of interested in that. Right?
And X-Men First Class completely took this. They used
Yes.
this when he in his case, right, he was trying to actually quote unquote heal himself, and instead he made himself look far more quote unquote freakish than he did already.
But some would say that he's adorable like this.
Once you
As
go
the
blue,
as
you
the
never go back. I do like using a book as a weapon. I also like for our radio audience sound effects of hitting that include in this case wonk with a WAUNK
yeah,
and wud WHUD
yeah.
and thwuck.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that Hank kind of has fun, sort of, being with Simon Williams is this established movie star in the Marvel universe. So, this quote, "I never get asked for autographs when I'm with the X-Men." It's definitely a fun book. I enjoyed it. It did get bogged down in continuity and
Yeah.
references and sub references, but so does this show. So who are we to judge, Eric, is really the question that I'm asking here.
And obviously you of the two of us, you're the Wonder Man, and I'm the Toad.
Yes, I was not prepared for you to zag when I thought you were going to zig.
I try not to zig it anymore. My mom told me
Yeah,
not to do that too much. Well, I actually had a question for you, as I would consider a Wonder Man connoisseur. Um,
sure.
so this is a guy who dies, comes back, dies again, dies again.
Yeah.
His personality, the personality of the comic character, I do remember more of being a little more cocksure. Uh, the TV show version, he is not. TV
No,
show,
it's
he
a
hasn't.
vast departure. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
he's not a movie star yet. He's a struggling actor, a working actor. I mean, if you get a one off on an American Horror Story, you're doing something right. Even if your
By the
character is
way,
killed.
the line I forgot to reference: golf carts aren't for day players. I
Right.
thought was very nice. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So he personality wise though, I found, and again, the performance great. I really like what they're doing with the character in the show. But I was just curious, like Wonder Man's character, his actual personality, not just his like powers. Like, how would you describe him over these various incarnations? Like, I remember West Coast Avenger have a little bit more, I don't know, swagger than I think even he did here, because here he just seems morose,
Yeah,
almost
I mean,
frustrated, right?
yeah, on our other show, our buddy Daniel Drew listed some of his established powers, and in to a lesser extent, he always kind of from a power set kind of comes off like Superman. He's got the strength, he can fly, and sometimes he has red eyes, but I don't think he ever, shoots lasers out of them. He also has not been able to use his powers to rebuild the Great Wall of China, as seen in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. And also Simon.
Can he throw the W from his costume, and like Shrinky Dink?
No, I don't think he can, unfortunately. And he's
that.
also never hung out with Richard Pryor, as we saw in Superman 3.
Well,
But
I mean, listen, he was a working actor. I'm sure there might have been a
yeah,
party or two.
so yeah, but to your point, this sort of self-doubt, we're not worthy, Simon Williams is not the way I remember him, and probably not the way that, a lot of people have seen him even after this book from the year 2000, right?
Yeah, well, and even here, like the reason Hank's with him at all is they're all worried about him,
Yeah.
and so he actually shows up to be like, and he is kind of the comedic relief, right? Like Wonder
Yeah.
Man's not very funny in these books. He's,
No.
it's a solid character because it's also a guy who's kind of who am I? A bit of ennui, as they would say. And Hank comes in and he's actually having a good time. Even the cover that you have behind our beautiful faces here. Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. So he's name checking those great scribes, those great bards, Laurel and Hardy. So, Hank's having a good old time, and it's really there to make sure that Wonder Man's okay, that he's gonna not do something drastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think that it is kind of the fun dynamic that we get of these two. And I do like a nice word balloon. Longtime editor in chief, Jim Shooter, who we lost last year, he hated word balloons on the covers because he felt like it was a thing that DC did a lot. And I think that it wasn't an edict that you couldn't do them, but you had to use them sparingly and also have it be sort of like this, where it's really just kind of like one statement instead of like having a whole conversation. But yeah, I think the end of the day, this is a fun read that no one has to read, because unless you read all the Wonder Man continuity through 1999, and then you were like, oh, I want to get to the 2002 Wonder Man. There is I don't know if it's a Wonder Man omnibus. I'm not sure how big the collection is, but this is included in it because this is actually important character stuff for him going forward. This is this moment where he's with Wanda and he's also doubting himself, and so it's substantial to him for the future. But this was a fun read that it did come up on a list of Wonder Man books as like, this is worth reading, but it's probably not the number one choice. But if we get a season 2 of Wonder Man, I'd be happy to find another Wonder Man story to add into the mix for the book club.
Well, and this, I think it's a fun story. It might not be the most Wonder Man-y story of Wonder Man's various arcs and incarnations, but I think it's like a solid entry point into him, and it's markedly different from the tone and style of the TV show. But I think just really ironically, I think it's like we read this for what we came for Wonder Man, but I think we stayed for Beast. Like Beast to me was the thing in this series. I thought, and again, Wonder Man's powers and dealing with his old flames. I thought it was solid drama, but really, like, Beast was bringing all the fun. Beast was like the Deadpool of this series, basically.
Yeah, and the thing that you need to know about Hank McCoy is that he's the Beast, but he'll never be your beast of burden. So I think that he's there to help, and he's a friend is really what we're getting at here. Yeah. For the ongoing conversation that we had, our buddy Daniel Drew did some work here, and he. Yeah, there's no good way to feature us on this. So Daniel says that he flipped through the 4-issue miniseries, the original West Coast Avengers miniseries, and that woman is only in one frame of one panel in issue 3 and no name. Daniel Drew has a good point, though. Wonder Man's going to start a new run in March, so perhaps things could pull from that. yeah, I feel like they'll kind of do what we often get is when they lean into, whatever's going on, and they try and make the stories a little bit more accessible to people who are fans of the character
Do you
from
think they're going to
television or
make?
movies.
You think they'll make him African American?
No, I don't think they'll do that. Although I think they've done DC, they call it Elseworlds. There
Yeah, yeah.
are Marvel stories where Nick Fury looks like Sam Jackson, but obviously the Nick Fury Howling Commandos Nick Fury is the one that is still within continuity, I believe.
And we all know, I mean, once you catch David Hasselhoff in anything, everyone else is just going to be fighting for third place.
Yeah, don't hassle the Hoff. I mean, I think truer words are rarely spoken. So this was a fun one. People can check it out, but maybe get that Wonder Man compendium that really will give you a little bit more of a thorough approach. And I think we should move on to what I believe everybody is. Go ahead.
Reveal.
Yeah.
No, I'm very excited. I got a pilot here who's also excited.
You don't even know. And so here's what we're going to be reading in the Geekscape Book Club in the month of February. This is Green Lantern Secret Origin by Jeff Johns. And this is recommended for something to read ahead of the Lanterns HBO Max series. And we don't have an exact release date of that, but we have, some other things that we want to work around the schedule. So we will be reading that in the month of February. The month of March will bring the return of Daredevil Born Again. And we'll read a different Daredevil story, though. This one is called Dark Art. And this will feature the character of Muse, who we saw in season 1. And spoiler alert for people who haven't seen season 1, you're not going to see him in season 2. We'll just leave it at that, right, Eric?
Yeah, don't get too attached.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. And I'm excited. This is a little bit later, but we did a Daredevil Echo run a couple years ago now. That's how long we've been doing the show. So a little bit more. Charles Soule and Ron Garney are the creators in there. Of course, we're also getting a standalone Punisher movie on Disney Plus, and recommended for that is a Punisher series called Born. So it'll be sort of the birth of him as the Punisher. This is from Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson is the artist. I don't know. But this is the extreme adult Marvel Max line that they had for a little while. You can see this cover and it says explicit content. So it's going to be good because it's going to be extreme.
A lot of penises.
Let's say yes. No, I don't think so. And then ahead of this summer's film from the DCU, we'll be reading Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King. The film is apparently very much based on this story and some others, but when you read a description of it, exactly what you're getting right there.
I was hoping you were going to have us read one of the Crypto series that they write for children.
Look, nothing is off the table. So for the month of June, we're going to read something that I hope is actually a panel that I will present at Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario. Longtime viewers and listeners of this show know that I'm fortunate to, every year or so get to interview Chris Claremont. So something I very much want to talk to him about is the 40th anniversary of the Mutant Massacre. And that is the first of what became the annual All Mutant crossover series. And, I have questions about what it was like to always be able to incorporate these things in there. And Peter David, who was writing X Factor a few years after this, he hated the fact that he had to stop the stories he was telling to make way for the crossover. But you'd need to trick people into buying the issues. So this cover, the trade paperback, is the cover from Uncanny X-Men 210. And this is right before everything goes sideways. And shortly after this, Kitty and Kurt are no longer with the X-Men. They end up in Excalibur, and Colossus does not end up with Excalibur, but he ends up leaving the team. So the team changes quite a bit after the Mutant Massacre. So I am very interested in hopefully talking to Chris Claremont about it. But even if the panel is not selected, I still want to read this again for the 40th anniversary. We're going to need some time because there are a lot of books that made up, and this collection has all of them. So that'll be our June, and we will be getting, and then we've never done quite this before, but because of we're getting the film Spider-Man Brand New Day, I have gone against my own personal wishes. I'm going to read some stories that Spider-Man stories that I've never wanted to read.
Oh,
So
I've
we're
read
going
this.
to first read One More Day by J. Michael Straczynski, and I was and Joe Quesada doing the art. I never wanted to read this story, but I felt like I needed to do that. So that is July. And August, we will go from One More Day to Brand New Day, which is the subsequent series. It's I have a personal aversion to that because Peter and Mary Jane getting married was very important to me. I was very excited. I don't know, it was like 11 or 12, somewhere in the range where Chris Blatt had written 2 solo Avengers. And I sort of liked the fact that, Peter had dropped out of grad school and Aunt May was upset, and, things like that. And then look at this. Daniel Drew still needs to read the dang Brand New Day omnibus. Well, read it with us this summer, Daniel. That seems like the thing to do. Yeah. So we'll be reading that. So we're gonna do 2 Spidey books. So, and it is a lot of Marvel in a row, but they're the ones with a slightly more prolific calendar. But don't worry, because in September, ahead of the Clayface film, we'll be reading a story called Batman Arkham Clayface. So I think that comes highly recommended. So that'll be for the month of September. And for the month of October, I have an ambitious idea that my hope is that this would be the panel that we get to do at Los Angeles Comic-Con this fall. But if we don't, we can still cover that we have another 40th anniversary. And Eric, you've heard me reference this, but it is indeed the new universe. So we're going to be talking about
I thought you were going to say Secret Wars 2 for a second.
There's a reason why. You'll see. There's a reason why we don't have Secret Wars 2. But that was my first thought. That's also the 40th anniversary. But I mean, the concept of the new universe is so bad. They started a new universe. It's not like an alternate reality, like eventually Marvel characters infiltrated and there's not even a Watcher there. So it like really is different. Starbrand and DP7 were the only books that I think were any good or at least decent. Part of that was the creative team, but the other books had titles like Spitfire and the Troubleshooters, Merc,
I think I saw I'm sorry, go ahead.
Cyforce actually wasn't terrible, but it was too similar to DP7. There was Justice, and I honestly don't even remember Night Mask. But one of the worst comic book series that I bought for multiple months is a book called Kickers Inc. It is a football team that becomes superpowered.
Ah,
It's not good. And Daniel, who is like our comic book historian, has never heard of the new universe because they want you to forget. But the Star Brand as a character and also as sort of a power source, I know exists in the Marvel universe now. There was an Avengers run during the pandemic, so I guess in 2020 that focused on that. So I very much want to get some of our regulars together, and I hope that we can discuss this on stage at Los Angeles Comic Con.
well,
But
I think I saw Spitfire and the Troubleshooters open for John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
I'm sorry, I did step on that earlier, and I apologize.
It was worth it. It was worth circling back.
Other than Star Brand, I guess, and Daniel didn't even know it came from that. Yeah, he's from the new universe, and that's John Byrne writing and John Romita Jr. drawing. And then John Byrne draws it later.
Wait, so Kickers Incorporated, is that the team?
Kickers Inc. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's. But when you say football, are they soccer players or football?
No. When I say football, I mean American football, real
football. No, this
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, but why are they called Kickers Incorporated? Is it just?
Look, it's a great question. You're asking, are they all kickers?
I want
it's an entire team. No.
Well, you remember the song "We Are Kickers, We Kick Ball, We Play with Ball, We Kick the Ball" from Saturday Night Live?
I think so. Now that you're mentioning it, but
get ready. I'm gonna have to track that down with Dana Carvey playing Giants legend Raul Alegre. Lyrics were "I kick ball. I am Raul." That's all he could say.
So yeah, it's it was it came in the same year as it, I think. New Universe is really the new Coke of comic books, where they reinvented something for literally no reason. No one was asking for a new universe, and they didn't do a good job.
I'm very excited
in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not quite sure what the reading list would be, but I think there are collections, and I just wanted to showcase Kickers Inc. is the birth of a hero. And this was exciting, the new universe, because again, I was talking about how I wanted to have issue number ones. There were a whole bunch of them, and most of them were terrible. But it's definitely forgotten because even Daniel Drew doesn't know about
it. Can I also pitch? I know it's months and months away. I think for the panel, we all have to dress as one of the worst characters from the new heroes or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's from the new universe. You're gonna be Spitfire, which is basically the red armor is what you're. Yeah, it actually looks like Maximilian from the Black Hole, the Disney classic. Yeah. I knew you'd know what I'm talking about.
Well, I already look like Maximilian Schell, who I think was in that movie as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's you over there on the right.
I'm here for all of it.
All right, good. I'm glad you are.
Cosplay for a character nobody knows.
No, but one person will know what it is, and then that makes it worth it. So
and I'm gonna be very afraid to meet that person.
We're also going to do another 2-month sort of exploration, and the first thing that we're going to do is Infamous Iron Man, which is not necessarily the inspiration for the Doctor Doom portrayed by Robert Downey Jr. and the questions about that, but it's written by Brian Michael Bendis, and I think it's worth checking out. And for the month of December, which will bring us to the end of 2026, we are going to read Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, which is much more recent. And I think the expectation is, yes, after Doomsday, there is a Secret Wars film. The feeling is that both Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to pull from this. So believe me, I did think about Secret Wars 2, and I feel like that'll be an instance where we maybe throw in an extra one, because that would actually make for a pretty good panel as well. So,
oh my God,
Yeah. So
Except that one we all have to dress like the Beyonder, aka Chris Sarandon.
Oh, and yeah, I was gonna say, AKA David Hasselhoff, basically. Yeah. So anyway, those are our books for this entire year. I should make a post on social media of what everything is going to be. Yeah.
It's a fabulous job you've done curating it,
And
if I
by the
never read
way,
any other books, you've done well by us.
Daniel did point out that the infamous Iron Man was when the Inhumans television series was airing, which we covered on Marvel TV Weekly. Was the show that we did over there on AfterBuzz. Myself and at one point Zia and some other friends that you might recognize from this show. If you've been with us that long, then that means you're like almost a decade in. So we appreciate anybody who remembers that far back. Look, I'm excited. I know it's a little light on the DC, but they're I think 27 is a bigger year for them, and so we'll see. And you know what, Daniel, you're right. We still got to do Immortal Hulk. I forgot I said we would do that, so we'll find a time for it. It might be 27. I got to get a good sense for what they're doing with the Hulk. I don't know, when we'll see him and all that.
I'll also pitch whenever the next Into the Spider-Verse movie comes out, which at this point, hopefully our grandkids living long enough to see it. I think we got to do a Peter Porker focused episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think Peter Porker first showed up in the pages of What the, which was sort of the lighthearted, comedy book, and he did spin off into his own series.
Yeah, I had some of that. Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham.
Yes, of course. I mean, that's exactly who he is. Was Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. And there are some images that you will routinely see of that series. And I actually just seconds ago was able to pull up something I haven't seen in quite some time. I have this book. So it's Marvel Tales, Tails, starring Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. And this features Hulk Bunny and Captain America plus Goose Rider. I'm not quite sure what to say about any of this.
The term
you're
Goose
right.
Rider makes me exceptionally uncomfortable.
What about Goose Rider makes you uncomfortable?
Just that name. I don't know. I'm getting all sorts of strange imagery.
Yeah, that's fair. I could understand that. But it's all fascinating that these things got published,
And cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I mean, comic books cost 75 cents. How did I buy all these? I'm buying the New Universe. I'm spending my hard-earned money on Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, aka Marvel Tails at one point, I don't have any good answers for us, Eric. But the image that you often see of Spider-Ham is this one, the Peter Porker Spectacular Spider-Ham, which is a play on the Spider-Man No More, which I think is Amazing Spider-Man number 50. But I could be wrong. But do you remember anything about Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, these comic books?
This one I don't think I had, but I'm pretty sure I had the other one. And it actually, it's funny as you show this, I'm thinking, okay, it might be kind of a fun. I don't know if it would be a side piece, side hustle, but the idea of you and I both find the comic, like 5 comic titles we can't believe we spent money on. That at the time made sense. Looking back, like what was wrong with young Chris Bladt.
It depends on the era as to which one I am, but yes, that's fine.
Or young Gitzhawk Conner. for some reason I went by a Hebrew name apparently when I was young. Um, I think it'd be interesting to see what titles we can't even remember buying, but almost like forcing ourselves to read 5 of the strangest things in our our collections. Oh my god,
I
that really is great.
definitely bought the Alf comic book. I know I did because I loved Alf.
Because you hate
Um,
cats.
oh, I mean, I don't hate them; they're delicious. Um, and Daniel points out. Go ahead and read Daniel's comment.
That hair on Hulk Bunny XD. Yeah,
Yeah,
that hair is giving me lots of questionable feelings.
yeah. Well, I can't promise that the 11 books that we'll be reading this year will be a little bit more focused because this is kind of the fun of the Geekscape Book Club, especially when you're doing it at what is now 2:20 in the morning Eastern time. It's only 11:20
Not
for
220
us.
for either of us, but still.
Yeah. But still, it's still late is the
East Coast
point.
blood for us still.
No, and we have like people, like Daniel's on the East Coast and Kemi Egan Central Time. You notice she tapped out, but
Yes.
that's fine. Anyway, so we have some fun stuff in store for you this year. And yeah, we can mix up some of this stuff. We can do some extra issues. I do very much want to cover Secret Wars 2, but I think not nearly enough people know about the new universe. And I'm kind of making it my mission to talk about it in the year 2026.
I think the world's ready for it after the last, since 2020. I feel like this is the thing. Oh, finally, it's going to bring us out of the dark times
The new
and into
universe.
and into the darker times.
Into the darkest times.
Yeah.
So anyway, we always have fun doing the book club, which is why we still do it. And we hope people enjoyed us talking largely about Wonder Man, but then really trying to figure out who that character was. I think it might be Iron Man's girlfriend. I can't remember her name. Candy Southern or something. No. Sorry, that's. See, this is me trying too hard because that's Angel's girlfriend, non-powered character.
A
So
little bit of Iron Strange is what she was. That's okay. We've all
that
been there.
that's the 29 Marvel movie, Iron Strange. Actually, with just Stephen Strange in an iron suit, I think. Yeah,
It's the crossover we've needed. Iron Doctor
yes,
Strange.
it's a crossover that we all need. Anyway, fun to go down some crazy, wild rabbit holes today. And
Anytime.
we will, of course, be back talking about Wonder Man, the TV show over on Marvel Movie Talk. That'll be Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you're just listening to the archives, you can just go over to the Marvel Movie Talk feed and find us talking about the Wonder Man TV series, which we're enjoying. And you heard all the books that we'll be reading in 2026. Eric, where can people find more of you?
If you dare, count Eric Conner, ERICCONNER, on the Insta, on the X. And I'm thinking of, I don't know if I have any events to plug in the near future, in fact. So, I don't know, just come say hi. I'll keep a light on for you.
Are you gonna do Antigone or Oedipus Rex, or do you have you have anything in the works?
Oedipus Tex-Mex. It's a food truck I'm starting. Don't ask where the meat's from, though.
but that makes me want to know where the meat is from.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
So what do you got going on, Christian Bladt? Where can
I'm
they find
glad.
you?
I'm glad you asked. So you can
go.
find me. You can find me on social media, of course, at Christian DMZ, and I'm also able to be found doing some shows called. One of them is called The Blackcast, which is taking the world by storm. And I've been doing it for 13 years now. So one of these days we'll have our big break. And I do a show called Who Are These Broadcasters with Eric Zane.
WATB.
WATB. And we'll be doing a Super Bowl halftime counter programming. So go to the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel, Super Sunday, dip away from the big game and check out what we're doing. We'll be talking to my friend Dennis Miller, 5-time Emmy Award winner, Dennis Miller. So you can check that out. And all of these things are important. But Daniel has actually sent me a scan of the page.
Yeah, see, a little bit of Iron Strange.
Yeah, so we don't have the answers, but we'll see if we can get to that at some point. In any event, Eric, I appreciate you spending so much time doing these 2 shows this evening. And we're getting done before midnight, so it's a success. And we look forward to seeing everybody back here in the Geekscape Book Club. And we went through the whole year, and I'm not going to do it again, but our next book will be Green Lantern Secret Origin. And I haven't read a ton of Green Lantern. I read a pretty wild Green Lantern Star Trek crossover a few years ago, but we will look for this, written by Mr. Jeff Johns. So that's all the time we have for now. And as we always like to say here in the book club, as long as they keep writing them, we'll keep reading them.